Did you know 27,000 bikes are stolen each year in the UK alone? That's 77 a day, and it ends up costing the industry over £100 million per annum. That's why we've come here to New Scotland Yard to get the official stamp of approval from the police on a brand new initiative from Datatag and the motorcycle industry to try and help prevent bike theft. So I have here with me from Kawasaki UK, Martin Lambert. And Martin, what does it mean for you to be involved with this scheme?
I think it's important for us in the motorcycle industry to unite on things like this anyway, especially when it involves theft and security. So if we provide a united front, that really flies in the face of all these criminals that are stealing bikes, breaking them up, selling the parts, and that's drawing motorcycling down. So together, we are a much stronger body.
Okay, so Simon Belton from Yamaha UK, why do you think this scheme is so important?
I think it's very important for the industry to get behind an initiative like this. Stealing motorcycles is a big problem in every socially, financially. If we can provide a deterrent to stop that happening, then obviously that's what we need to be doing, and Datatag is our preferred master scheme.
So with me I have the MD of Datatag, who are obviously a major part of this initiative, Kevin Howes. Kevin, can you explain a little bit more about what exactly this scheme is?
Yes, well, this is a major industry initiative to try and combat the problem of organised theft within the motorcycle and scooter industry. And what we've seen is most of those are obviously stripped down and broken up for parts, or the parts are used to clone other bikes.
So it's literally, as you say, all new bikes are going to be coming out who are part of the scheme will be getting data tagged and getting security checked all for free.
That's right. I mean, we have 6 manufacturers, the leading manufacturers, who have decided to adopt this straight away. So we have Honda, Kawasaki, Suzuki and Yamaha, and we also have Triumph and BMW. So they will be fitting the master security scheme, which is, we've got Datatag technology from new, and that could either be on the production line or also during the PDI process.
Joining me outside New Scotland Yard is Lord Henley, Minister for Crime Prevention. And Lord Henley, why exactly do you think a scheme like this is so important?
It's very important to get as many products as possible, and here we're talking about motorcycles properly marked. If they're properly marked, it's far harder to steal them, strip them down, sell them for spare parts or rebuild them as another alternative machine. And this marking scheme, which we're launching today, is another example of an industry getting together and producing a scheme that's covering really a very large part of the industry, and we hope in time will cover all of the industry, because I think those who don't join it will discover their bikes are going to be more likely to be stolen.
Deputy Commissioner Craig Mackey, how important do you think this scheme is to be endorsed by the Met Police?
I think it's very important. Sadly, on average in the UK, we see 77 motorcycles stolen every day. Over half of those occur in London. And the sad reality is motorbikes often get broken up into parts, and this tagging scheme and a way of tracking those gives us a fighting chance of being able to find some of those. And it's a real good crime prevention initiative today to say to people, take some opportunities, mark your bike, mark your systems, and then if the very worst happens, we may stand a chance of detecting that and reuniting you with your property.
And the first thing that anybody said to me this morning was, that's a big number. Not only was it such a slight, many percentage of that being stolen, but the recovery rate was non-zero.
So Kevin, the master security scheme, we've already seen, we're chatting to the coppers, that unfortunately one of the biggest problems is identifying any parts that have come off the bike. How is the master security scheme going to help that?
Well, what we're doing is we're taking state-of-the-art identification technology and we're building into one system, and it's multi-layered. So we're using microchips or RFID, radio frequency ID chips, and these things are, I suppose, embedded in things like the wiring loom, the ECU unit, it can be the frame, the wheels, and they're put on at random by dealers. We also have a stealth etching, and this is a unique number that's actually etched into the plastic panels of a machine. Again, a criminal's now got to literally cut holes in the fairings, and going back to your initial comments about it's not just noteworthy for the criminals, they wouldn't want to get involved with that because A, it's going to be obvious for someone selling these things online that something's happened to it. So that's another layer of security. We also have a superior data dot technology. Now, these things are about the size of a full stop. There are thousands of them, and on each dot is a unique number with our contact details. Okay. And these things are put in things like the ECU unit, under the speedo, the foot pegs. They're actually cover the machine, not necessarily on the tank, but throughout the whole machine.
But completely can't be seen by the naked eye.
That's right. They're very tiny, and so now what the criminal's got to do, he's got to cut through frames and wheels, he's got to cut holes in panels, and then he's got to find every last dot. And we've seen in other industries that criminals just don't want to do that. Yeah. They don't want the risk of being caught. At the end of the day, they're business people. Unfortunately, it's not a very nice business. They're stealing bikes to order, and they just don't want the risk of being caught. So they'd rather not steal a machine that's data tagged.
Fair play, and I know the final piece of it is also going to be a little strip, isn't it, on the headstock, yes, which is going to have a QR code, and it's actually going to have an individual identification number for the bike. So someone like myself, bit of a layman who wouldn't know really, whether exhaust had been stolen or not, or was a different part, an OE part, whatever, could come along with my mobile phone, scan that QR code, and it should tell me what colour the bike is, when it was registered, and obviously any modifications to that bike.
That's correct. We've given out thousands of scanners to police forces up and down the country, but that is really given to dedicated specialist police officers. What we're doing with this, it's a tamper-evident number that will be near the headstock, and all these manufacturers now, and the initial manufacturers were BMW, Triumph, Yamaha, Honda, Kawasaki and Suzuki, and other manufacturers follow, they're going to be putting this tamper-evident number on the headstock. And we can now go out and educate the public and police to say that if you see a machine from 2013 on without this, you should be suspicious. There's a unique number on it. It's a primary identifier number, and we're utilising the latest QR technology because everyone now has smartphones.
But that's one of the best things, because I know the police were saying, they couldn't prosecute, and therefore they wouldn't even investigate a lot of cases because they could never prove where the parts came from. It wasn't their fault, they weren't marked. So at least this will give them a way of dealing with these criminals and making sure, and hopefully preventing a lot of bike theft from actually occurring.
Yes.
So 27,000 bikes a year being stolen is a scary number, but what's even more scary is what actually happens to your bike once it's been stolen. Now, you probably think your bike at the side of the road, parked up with a nice little disc on, is nice and safe, but we have an undercover police officer with us here whose sole job it is to deal with bike theft. For instance, how long would it take for you to get into a normal bike with a disc along at the side of the road?
Probably about 20 or 30 seconds.
That quickly?
Yes.
And then once you've actually broken, say, the steering lock, you've got the disc lock off a bike, you don't even need to start it, do you?
No, not at all. I'll either load it in a van or push it away.
Now, you say push it away. We've actually got some footage here of criminals doing exactly that in London. This is proper CCTV footage. And what exactly are they doing there? They're riding up with the moped, and it looks like that bike's being powered, but it's not, is it?
No, it's not. The moped is actually being used to propel the stolen sports bike away. They're effectively using it as a tractor to push the stolen bike up to speeds of anything above 50, 55 miles an hour.
Not only very hard to spot, but incredibly dangerous. We're about seeing this chase when they go into big London areas where there are pedestrians and people around who might be hurt in a high-speed chase. Exactly,
yes. They've obviously got what they want, and they don't want to give it up, so they're more than happy to race around the streets of London to get away from the police.
But I mean, they could literally, what they'll do is they'll have a frame with a V5, say an R1, and then they'll go out and steal one, and within an hour or so they'll have taken all the parts off the stolen R1, put them on that legitimate frame, and that can be in a dealer and being sold within a matter of days, can't it?
Yeah, it's by simply getting a new identity, a replacement frame. A stolen bike can be rebuilt around a new frame and given a legit identity and then sold on.
So Kevin, we've just had the official presentation here at the Ace Cafe with all the press, nice Q&A session afterwards. How do you think it all went down?
I don't think we could ask for any better, really. The whole day has been great, the weather's been fantastic, and we've had great support from insurers, from manufacturers, and in particular the police. We were particularly encouraged with the turnout at Scotland Yard, where we had the Deputy Commissioner and Lord Henley, and it was really been a good day.
Yeah, brilliant, man. And do you think that people are starting to realise what this is for and how big an impact it could have?
Yes, I think so. I mean, we got back here and we realised it had been on national radio, and we think that will just continue. And I mean, it now starts. The hard work really starts. We've now got the scheme in place. We can work with the manufacturers and the rest of the industry, and we think, in maybe a couple of years we'll be back here and looking at it and think, why wasn't it done earlier?
I completely agree. So from next year, hopefully, bike theft will be a thing of the past.
I hope so.